I think you brought up a good point. I think you were saying that your mom went from $8 an hour to her next level. You were saying that,
Hmm.
potentially you have to work 30 years to catch up to them. But I want to talk about, I mean, inside your book, you were talking about, hey, in one particular opportunity, you were making $40,000 a year as a police officer. In basic, you were making 18,000 a year, and then you had your first $10,000 month. So
Yeah.
obviously that I see the smile on your face, right? Because I mean, like that's a hell of a moment to go from $18,000 annually to $10,000 a month. So I want you to talk about, like, how did you get to that, and then how that has changed where you're going and where you are right now.
Yeah, man. So that was like month seven of my security firm when we first opened it back in 2016, 2017. And I really launched that while I was still in officer school in the military. So I was active duty and kind of did the business plan. I'm one of those guys that legitimately put the business plan on a napkin and then came back and like made it work. I knew I didn't want to get back in law enforcement after the military. And yeah, I was making 18 grand a year. And with law enforcement, with all the side jobs, I was really probably bringing home closer to 70, right? So I went from that to the 18K years and E4 in the military. Went through basic training. I've been a SWAT operator. I was doing drug and narcotics investigations here in Atlanta. And I went from that to getting yelled at by a drill sergeant that was younger than I was and had to like suck it up and make do while making 18 grand a year. And then come back and like jumped headlong into business ownership and really found a need where I could bridge the gap in a different capacity here in Atlanta. And as I built and grew those first few months, it's a grind, man. And I really didn't want to deal with it on some days, and then other days it was, man, this is a hell of a win, right? And then month seven, hit 10K in revenue. It's like, dude, this is like a quarter of my salary from the law enforcement. I'm on to something. I'm like, this is going to be so freaking awesome. And then month eight, I left for Afghanistan. So that momentum came to a screeching halt. So it's like the ups and downs, right? You learn some lessons really quick and you hit some really awesome wins. And then it's like, oh shit, how do we keep this going for a year out of the desert in the Middle East?
Very cool. Very cool.